I heard Jim and Kelly were thinking about putting together an X-Files museum. I thought, oh, right. That people want to, gather up a bunch of stuff and then, adios. We wouldn't see them again. And so, you're kind of in disbelief. And, I'm a skeptic anyway. And so I always think the worst of people, believe it or not. And so I had very little faith that somebody would actually might have an idea, but wouldn't be able to carry it out, I should say. And here we are, sitting here. I just signed, I don't know how many autographs at the grand opening. And it was like, whenever the hardcore fans come out and tell me that what the show has meant to them, and some people say it saved their lives, changed their lives, changed their relationships, it blows my mind. And so, to go from not believing Jim and Kelly were going to actually pull something off to sitting there today and meeting, I don't know how many fans, between 300 and 500 people who came through and wanted to say hi, tell me their stories, take a picture, get an autograph. And, it was a lot. It meant a lot to me, and it was just a lot to comprehend. There was a woman told me she had no friends, and she found the X-Files, and it really saved her life. And it was a really heartfelt story. So that's a memory. There were 5 women who came together through the internet and met on the internet, and they've been friends for 30 years. So the X-Files helped to bring that friendship together. I had tearful stories, people who talked about, relationships with their father or their mother, and usually their father, actually. Women with their father, girls with their father, coming together, and maybe at the time had very little middle ground, and found middle ground with the X-Files. Those kind of stories are touching. They are honest, and they are, inspirational. My favorite piece is actually probably one of the smallest pieces in the museum, in the preservation collection, is the implant that was up Billy Miles' nose in the pilot episode. And I've been carrying that thing around for 30 years, wondering what I would do with it, where it would end up, and it's one of those mementos that means so much to you, because it was where it all began, and it was where the cigarette smoking man took it and put it in the repository, the warehouse, kind of a la Raiders of the Lost Ark. And to see it sitting there, having made it through, I don't know how many chapters in my life, was a thrill. So what is equally as impressive is the things I don't recognize, wardrobe that came from an obscure episode that I would never, be able to place and put on the show. Props that I don't remember from the show, although there are quite a few props that I gave to Jim and Kelly. Some things that sat on my shelves. There's one from the second movie that is obscure, and you would never know that it was actually in the movie, but I lifted it from the set, and probably got the props or set deck people in trouble that it wasn't returned, but there it is. I was lucky that I owned a building, and it had a basement, and all the stuff, I have to credit a woman that worked for me as my executive assistant. Her name was Mary Astadorian, and she was so organized and methodical, and she saved everything, and she labeled everything, and she put everything where it should be. And I carried those boxes and crates and stuff around with me, and it ended up sitting in a basement for the longest time, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then I ended up selling the building, and I had to move it again, so I moved it to another building. And there it sat, and filled up the building. We wanted to rent the building, and we had all this stuff. And right about that time, Jim and Kelly come along, and that's when the museum started to take shape. And it was the perfect opportunity to put it in give it a really good home, I should say. Yeah, I mean that the X-Files, I think it aired in 60 countries at one time. And that means that I've met people from Pakistan that grew up with the show. Today I met 3 people from South America, 2 from Ecuador, 1 from Peru, another one from Brazil. There's a woman who ran the X-Files news group who's from Venezuela, Avi Quijada, who's been very instrumental in keeping the X-Files heartbeat strong. Yeah, that's what blows my mind is that it brought people from diverse cultures, diverse places, and from actually very diverse ages, people old and young who had different experiences with the show. Some people with their children, some people even with their grandchildren. My message to Jim and Kelly, as my message is, as you might imagine if you watch the second movie, is don't give up. And it's, I got that idea from a man named Houston Smith, who was an expert in myth and folklore, culture, and storytelling. And I got to see him one night, a learned man. I got to see him one night address a group of people in a kind of a nice, casual, intimate setting. And he got to the end of his talk, which was wonderful. And someone asked him a question, how could you sum up your experiences? And so he was asked basically to give them the bumper sticker answer, and he looked kind of into the air and thought about it, and he said, don't give up. And I thought, that's the secret to everything. The secret to everything is don't give up.